Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be playing in arguably the best tier 10 tank destroyer, or just the best tank destroyer in World of Tanks. It is the Object 268 version 4. This vehicle kind of blurs the line between a heavy tank and a tank destroyer in World of Tanks, yet it takes many of the best features of both vehicles. If we compare it to a heavy tank, it's fast, it's got great armor, although it does have a weak point on top. But importantly, it has a better gun than a heavy tank has, with 650 alpha damage, with great penetration, 293 on its standard rounds, and 360 on its premium rounds. Now, when we compare that gun performance to something like an Object 268, for example, it's actually a little bit lackluster. It doesn't get the special high explosive rounds with their 1100 alpha, only 840. It doesn't get 750 alpha damage on both its premium and its regular rounds, and it doesn't have nearly the penetration on its premium that vehicle will have of 395. But still, this kind of midpoint where you kind of get the best of both worlds, it definitely works out in World of Tanks, which is why this one has the best win ratio of any of the tier 10 TDs. Now, this game is not going to be just about the Object 268 version 4 and my play here. It's also going to be about this Object 140, who I've immediately said I'm going to help. They give me a thumbs up and I give them a thumbs up back. Now, their name is Dragutta, and spoilers, that's their non-anonymized name. So if you get confused in this game thinking, well, why are you calling them Dragutta when their name is Apachak? That's actually an anonymized name. So I'm going to be calling them via their non-anonymized name, which I'm sure they won't mind. As spoilers, they've actually uploaded the replay, so we might be seeing a little bit of their gameplay later on. So this is where the Object 268 version 4 is just such a beautiful bully of a tank. I'm even thinking about going and getting a ram kill in there, but didn't need to, as Dragutta managed to finish them off. Unfortunately, that means that I've overturned my tank and I get penetrated by the premium round of the E75, but I don't really want to waste the large repair kit in this scenario. I didn't really feel like I was under too much threat, and so I'll just plow another round through the E75. And they're going to salute. I guess maybe they thought that they wouldn't have time to be able to fire another round, and then they actually drop their gun back down. When they've got the great alpha great rate of fire like they do on that 105mm, I believe, on the E75 that they're using, they probably could have been able to sneak in that extra shell, maybe if they weren't trying to surrender there in that game. Alright, so flank won, but game definitely not won at all. Even though we managed to carve up a couple of vehicles, in all fairness, we invested a lot of tanks to be able to do so. A tier 8, 2 tier 10s, and a tier 9 to be able to achieve the results they have on that flank, or we have on that flank, and it's not looking good for our team. We're down by 3 vehicles, we're down by 4 vehicles, and we're also down by what looks like 5,000 hit points. I asked Dragutta to be able to come with me, but Dragutta quite fairly has some shells on the AE Phase 1 that they're going to start nailing. But I really wanted to retake the middle of this map, and I wasn't sure whether I could be able to do so, considering that there is going to be an Object 140 as well that we're going to have to deal with. But you know what, Tiger 2 in that scenario, yeah, absolutely no problem. And this is where this vehicle is just absolutely crazy. Of course, every Object 268 version 4 driver who respects themselves will have controlled impact, and so that means that we can ram for 500 damage and only receive 46. So I'm going to drop back here, load a heat round, and go right through the side of the turret. And I'm going to give a big thank you to the T62A on my team, who actually managed to turn the 430U's turret to the side and help me be able to finish them off there. So good teamwork so far across the board from our top tier vehicles. And that's because there's only 3 of them in this game. Just managing to vanquish that 430U means that there's only one more tier 10 tank on the enemy team, considering that they lost the TVP as well. So in this kind of a situation, yeah, the Object 268 version 4 is definitely not great. It has 0.42 accuracy, which is pretty horrendous. One of the worst probably accuracies of any of the tier 10 vehicles. But, you know, when you hit so hard and you've still got a 152mm caliber gun that can overmatch 50mm plates, it's still alright. And if you can't manage to pen with the 293, got to be exact here, millimeters of standard pen that this vehicle has, and those 360 heat rounds will allow you to be able to compensate. Alright, so it's me, Dragutta, and our T62A, who's actually flanked across the north and being very aggressive here. Just trying to hold back the enemy's advance as they make their way towards our cap circle. In this kind of a situation, I just want to try and stay hidden from the enemy artillery, who I thought would be all the way in the southeast corner, and just look for shots of opportunity against the advancing tanks. Unfortunately, our T62A friend, who was in the middle, now gets shut down, but here we go. Good opportunity for the Char Future 4 right here. Can we manage to hit them? I probably didn't give quite enough lead in that situation. The shell velocity on this vehicle in 960 is not great, and that Char Fugitive 4 was actually way more nimble than I expected. So we didn't actually manage to re-spot them there. I'm not using coated optics on this tank, but it's definitely a build that you should consider. I'm currently running vents with a gun rammer and a turbo. I have a second build on this tank where I drop the turbo to be able to use a durability device as well. But still, it definitely holds you back a little bit from your long-range engagements. Alright, so we've got a TS5 who's seemingly trying to approach from the east. We've got a lot of vehicles who are holding the middle of the map, and so I decided to be able to make my way across and see if I could be able to engage this TS5 instead. Plus, if I go to the location just over towards my left, I'll easily still be able to spot most of the enemy vehicles, or at least not spot them, but be able to shoot them, any of the vehicles that are wanting to come in towards our base. I'm not sure if that E75 is AFK. Interesting enough, they just went out of radio communication range there. That's a little bit of a bizarre one. And I will fully disclose that I think that was a mistake by me as I came around that corner. I think I meant to stop, and I've ended up in a position that I really didn't want to be. But hopefully, we'll have a shot of opportunity. Absolute bizarre one there against the E75. That their radio went out, but it doesn't actually look like they're AFK, and they're able to start moving in this situation. Hopefully, I'm still going to be able to boost up this location to get safe anyway, so a little bit of a disaster averted by making my way down the slope. Because the worst thing is, if I would have had to have tried to go around there, I would have exposed myself to all of those tanks, which would have been a nightmare. Alright, so while we're not really doing too much in the middle of the map, you might notice that Dragutta in their Object 140 is actually making their way towards the north. So while I prepare a heat round to deliver to this TS5, why don't we actually join Dragutta and see what they're handling? So while I was making my way towards the TS5, we're going to take the perspective now from Dragutta playing in their Object 140. And here we see that they're able to ricochet an SU-130 PM, put 2 high explosive rounds in. And that means that they're going to be able to take out the SU in 3 shots before they even have an opportunity to fire a second shell. So, awesome clinical takedown of the SU-130 PM there. Now you see I'm fully engaging the Object 268 version 4, but Dragutta is actually going to find out that there's an SU-130 PM, another one that he's going to have to deal with. So he puts 1 round in, the SU-130 messes up the shot, going to put a second one into the tracks, and then lock down just that outside little part of the lower blade of the SU-130 PM to secure yet another frag in quick succession. Wow, this game's actually starting to look like we might be able to win it. Let's go back to my perspective. So while Dragutta was handling the SU-130s, I had my hands full with a TS5. This isn't the kind of tank that you really want to get caught by. I'm not really sure why I've driven forwards here. I probably should have just hung back. And I get a little bit overconfident here that I can manage to go through the lower plate of the TS5. But because I'm firing high explosive anti-tank rounds, the player actually expertly avoids the damage from me, and I fail to be able to go through their tracks and their hull armor. Really messed that one up. Luckily, all I do is lose 400 hit points, although that can still be make or break in a game where it's just so close, and we're still down by 1,000 hit points and down by 2 tanks in this game. Luckily, we can see that Dragutta, having dealt with the 2 SU-130 PMs up towards the northeast, now is going to be charging down the Char Fugitive 4. And I trust Dragutta is going to be able to handle that situation. They actually get a crossfire on the T-55A and then turn their attention to the Char Fugitive 4 to be able to handle them as well. I just do cruelty to low-tier tanks, really, as we ram a Panther II for 402 damage, being able to finish them off. Albeit, I do actually take 185 damage, which is quite substantial amounts of damage to take, so maybe that was actually a bit of a misplay by me. It means that I can no longer take a hit from the STRV-103B if they manage to hit us. So finally, we see Dragutta is revealed on my screen, as when we sent them an invite to a platoon, their name is now revealed. Dragutta is already up to 6 kills. I'm at 4. That means that if we can secure 2 of these last 3, not only will we get a crucial contribution medal for achieving at least 12 kills, it will also mean that we will have destroyed 13 of the enemy tanks if we can manage to get all of them. So it looks like that Type 61 really wanted to get in there to be able to get that kill. So you know what? I'm just going to let them. I'm going to try and get into another position to see if we can be able to continue to catch the mutts. And it Not sure if it was me who spotted the Mutts there or was Dragutta. Probably was Dragutta. But I'm going to finish them off in this scenario. Meaning that, are we going to get a double Top Gun here with our friend? Either that, or hopefully they'll be able to take down a Radley Walters medal. We're just going to have to wait and see. So Dragutta is really getting behind this camaraderie, this unexpected teamwork here, saying, well played bro, that's 11, and asks where was the RT. And I'm not really sure exactly where the RT was, but I'm more interested in asking the Object 7772 if they can scout this scenario, because we're going to have to dig out the STRV 103B if we're going to be able to want to take down this game. So Dragutta, making their way across the southern flank, actually ends up in a second getting a bit of an unexpected spot there on the Batchat, actually being towards the south of the map, finishes off the Batchat 15558, and then makes their way in towards the cap circle to see if we can dig out this STRV. So in this situation, either I'm going to get a Top Gun or Dragatta's hopefully going to be able to get a Radley Walters medal, unless of course the Object 7772 is going to be able to be a little bit of a rogue and be able to find them. So I was pre-aiming here, expecting the STRV 103B to be running away, and I show some pretty poor reactions there to what was going on the map, but Dragutta seems to have this situation locked down. He's on 629 hit points. I'm going to flank. I just don't want my friend to die, and he actually takes a hit from the STRV 103B. Now, if they fall, that means that we're no longer going to get a Brothers in Arms medal. And so what I'm going to say to Dragutta is, don't die, and I think I'm going to say, let me flank as well. But Dragutta doesn't need an idiot like me. Finishes off the STRV 103B, securing 8 kills. I say nice, GG, well played, and immediately go to the garage to send them a message of letting them know what a privilege it was to play with an absolute awesome player like Dragutta, rocking and rolling in their 140. So what we saw here is how absolutely crushing it can be when you have two top tier Soviet tanks rocking and rolling on the battlefield. And definitely it was a match made in heaven with me and Dragutta here, able to absolutely smash this one in our team's favor, albeit in a nice matchup in top tier vehicles. But even being in top tier vehicles in a nice matchup, destroying 13 out of 15 players isn't something that happens every day. Well, at least for me. So a first class medal for my Object 268 version 4 here for 1,120 base experience. However, Dragutta managed 1,362 base experience, securing them a ace tanker in addition to that Radley Walters medal. So we get a crucial contribution medal for securing at least 12 kills in a platoon. That's usually something for 3 platoon mates, not 2 platoon mates. And a Brothers in Arms medal for securing at least 3 kills each and surviving. Dragutta nails 5,100 damage, and I managed to get myself 6,434, which was enough to be able to secure a high caliber. So Dragutta, it was an absolute pleasure to play with you on the battlefield, and thank you so much for responding to my message afterwards to submit your replay. I really hope that YouTube enjoyed the 2-player perspective. And if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, what are your favorite vehicles for platooning when you want to have big boy games. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.